Project 1 by Ana Carolina Peralta Project. Course English Grammar. Introduction. The main idea of this paper is to help understand some of grammar differences between English and Spanish, and how these differences could difficult the learning process of an Anglophone or a Spanish speaker. Besides, at the end of the paper, there will be similarities between these two important languages. Differences regarding words in both English and Spanish. Gender and number. In English, adjectives have neither gender nor number, but Spanish does. Example: critical pedagogy, pedagogía crítica; critical thinking, pensamiento crítico; great thinker, gran pensador; great thinkers, grandes pensadores. 2. Infinitive in English. To use the infinitive in English, it is always necessary to add the preposition to before a verb. In Spanish, it is not necessary at all. If somebody wants to use a verb in infinitive, he or she just needs to say or write the verb without any preposition, just the verb itself. Example: I would like to change the world. Me encantaría cambiar el mundo. Differences in phrases. 1. Position of adjectives. In English, adjectives are generally pre-modifiers of nouns, but in Spanish they are post-modifiers. Example: natural approach, enfoque naturalista; foreign language, lengua extranjera. 2. Position of object pronouns. In English, object pronouns go after the verb, while in Spanish, object pronouns go before the verb. Example: I told him, le dije; they saw it, lo vieron. Differences about sentences. 1. Subject pronouns. In English, subject pronouns in sentences are always necessary. In Spanish, subject pronouns can be tacit. Example: I think a foreign language learner has to have motivation to learn. Pienso que un aprendiz de lengua extranjera tiene que tener motivación para aprender. 2. Relative pronoun that. In Spanish, it is necessary to use the conjunction that to make the sentence understandable. In English, it is not necessary, since if a person prefers not to use the conjunction, the sentence will make sense anyway. Example: algunos profesores piensan que los estudiantes son un vaso vacío. Some teachers think students are an empty glass. Differences in clauses. 1. Gender and number in relative clauses. In Spanish, gender and number are both necessary to use relative clauses, while in English, they don't exist at all. Example: pollution is a fact which affects everybody. La contaminación es un hecho el cual nos afecta a todos. Some fossils which had been buried hundreds of years were found this week. Algunos fósiles los cuales habían estado enterrados cientos de años fueron encontrados esta semana. 2. Subjunctive in clauses. In Spanish, it is necessary to use the subjunctive in some clauses, but in English, this condition is not the same. Example: busco una universidad que sea reconocida a nivel mundial. I'm looking for a university worldwide known. Finally, the following examples are two similarities between English and Spanish. 1. Basic structure in affirmative simple present. Both English and Spanish have the same basic structure in affirmative simple present sentences. Example: motivation is the most important thing in a learning process. La motivación es lo más importante en un proceso de aprendizaje. 2. Suffix "tion". In Spanish, most of the words with the suffix "tion" are the same in English. They have the same suffix "tion" as well. Example: emoción, emotion, educación, education, circulación, circulation, inspiración, inspiration. In conclusion, it is very important to take into account all the differences and similarities between both native and target language, because this can facilitate a better comprehension and this can also help the learner and teacher to understand why it is not that easy to internalize a new language. Thank you very much.